All I really wanna see is the money. I don't really need a D, I need the money. All a bad bitch need is the money. I got pants in the coop.
Be your own boss. Being the person who makes all of the decisions, being that person who perhaps is entitled to all of the revenue, or maybe, the vast majority of it, because you are the boss, you are the owner. You may be a small business owner, aspiring small business owner, or entrepreneur, and it seems like this is the way. Because it seems so easy. It seems so easy. I remember when I first started my first company, and I thought, this is amazing. I'm getting all this money, and I'm getting this money every month, and I can pay my bills, and I can hang out, and I can try and find a husband. That's where I was focused at the time. Anyways, so you remember here on Kizzy-Unfiltered, we talk about a lot of things. So brace yourself. And then things started to kind of go a little sideways, where I got to this point where it didn't feel like what I thought it would feel like. It was taking on this entirely new life form, where I had basically, just created a job for myself, like a high-paying job, because I was doing everything. And today, I want to just kind of dig deep into this life of being entrepreneur, gig worker, small business owner, whatever title you want to give. If you receive the vast majority of your earnings, your income, or any kind of margin, or any kind of payouts, in which you're not a W-2 employee, and you fill out a 1099, or you have a corporation, you fall into this category. Because it seems so easy. And I thought that too. I thought, oh my goodness, there's this, people want to pay for what I have, and they're willing to pay like thousands of dollars. Like, what is this? I can't believe it. Wow, this is easy. I'm just going to clean up. Yeah, I almost got cleaned up. That's really what happened with me. So when it comes to this life of being an entrepreneur, first and foremost, a very small portion of people in the United States are actually entrepreneurs. It seems that like 80% of society are entrepreneurs, and in reality, it's way smaller than that. It's so much easier to make things seem easy because we like that. I kind of equate it to ice skating. I always loved watching ice skating, especially there was this one ice skater. She's a Black ice skater. I think she would always represent France, and she was known for doing these backflips. I loved watching her. Her athleticism was just breathtaking. So here I am thinking like, ooh, she can do this. I can do this too. Negative. My younger brother still reminds me of like when we went ice skating, he's like, remember Kizzy, you were like falling down. He's like, you needed the little thing that they had for kids. Okay. I mean, I really did. And that's how it is being an entrepreneur, where you see other people because they typically put out the highlights, the highlight reel. They put out these things on the billboards, so it makes it seem so easy, just like with ice skating. Whoever you enjoy watching, with figure skating or, the dancing or the pairs, it seems so easy. But then when you go out there on that ice, it's like, oh my goodness, how do they do this? Or even hockey, how do they do that? I don't know. I love watching it. I do enjoy some hockey. I am a Midwesterner, but goodness gracious, here on Kizzy-Unfiltered, not only can I not say some words today, I'm still perplexed on how people are able to ice skate. No different than being a business owner. There will be times, I'm going through some of them right now, where it seems like you are alone. There was this point in time I was with some friends, like at dinner, and pretty much everyone there, they were talking about their jobs and complaining about their boss. And I'm just sitting there like, well, I am the boss. I can't like complain about myself. I mean, I'm pretty amazing. My hair's looking extra amazing today, y'all. I don't know what I did to it, but it looks great. And so what do? You can't really phone a friend or reach out to someone and say, oh my gosh, let me tell you about my day in life as an entrepreneur, because often they may be resentful or they just can't really relate. They can't give you what you're looking for. So it happens where you will feel alone. And there are different groups online. There's different places to go to get kind of assistance or try and brainstorm. There's even places where some of them are paid, where you can go and I believe you have your camera on and you're like working and there's somebody else there. So like you feel like you're working with someone. They have that. So there's tons of options out there. And what's key is searching for them and finding them and taking full advantage, which is what I've done quite regularly, because it gets to this point where you just never know the answer. And you're trying different things, which takes me back to when I was, okay, y'all, it's Kizzy-Unfiltered. So I know this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to share this. I don't think I've ever shared this with anyone. And that is when I was a little girl, I was like, I love things that challenged me. Like I love trying to get jewelry out of knots or untangle things. I also had this obsession with cleaning stains. I know, weird. So like I would purposely stain things to try and figure out how to remove it. I would listen and find out about like the cool ways to remove stains. I was like all about like removing these stains, because I looked at it as, here's this problem. There's some type of solution. I'm going to figure it out. And I really enjoyed that. And that's how I see being an entrepreneur, especially those times where you're like, what do? I don't have anyone. How am I supposed to respond to this? I think about those days with the stains, and you just have to try different things. Again, this is something that people don't exactly talk about on a lot of the social media platforms, is talking about all of the failures, talking about all of the contracts they didn't win or sales they didn't close, or employees who were like, screw you, I'm out of here. They don't really talk about that. I've experienced all of that. I mean, there are probably plenty of people who've come across my path and really don't like me or would never work for me. There are opportunities I've lost. There are opportunities I completely messed up. There were times I got scammed. But it's not about the laundry list of like, oh man, woe is me. Things didn't work out. This is horrible. Let me go get a job. With somebody else, not myself. It's more about, okay, how am I going to tackle this stain? And there's got to be a way to get this out. And that's how I really look at being an entrepreneur, being boss lady, being this, small business owner. Is I look at everything as an opportunity, opposed to, oh, it's a limitation, it's a barrier. And that has really helped with different situations that come up, not only in terms of many of the things we can't control, but also in situations where there's just surprises. whether it's a change with a client or somebody who works with you or works for you has decided they want to find magic elsewhere, or, who knows what the challenge is, but it's realizing that it's this cool opportunity and I turn into this kind of fun strategy, which also gets to kind of things around mindset. It seems that there's, I kind of giggle because some people have asked me this, like, they're like, well, what do you do? What's your typical day like? Like, I want to do what you do. No, you don't want to do what I do. I live the way that I live based on like how I want to live. It does not mean that this is best for you. And this is key because there's some entrepreneurs that'll put out there like, here's everything you should do before 8 a.m., or here are the 10 things you must do every week. And I don't see it in that way. I look at it as an entrepreneur, I'm always playing both offense and defense all times. I am equally Tom Brady before the season now, as well as I am whoever the best defense is out there. I don't know who the best defense is out there right now. I know it's not my Detroit Lions. I love my Detroit Lions, y'all. I know it's crazy. It's Kizzy-Unfiltered, but goodness gracious, they are not very good. Anyways, I'm equally both parts. And so it's really important to be aware of that and to adjust your life, your day to day to really center in on that. So for me, there's certain things I enjoy doing. I like working wherever I am. Like I'm here in Michigan at the moment. I love working here. I love taking advantage of all the natural sunlight. There are certain apps I like to have and use, and music I like to listen to, like Focus at Will is one of my all-time favorite apps. It really helps me when I put that on. I don't know what it does. It's like, I think that they could import some message in there. Next thing you know, I'm gonna start sending them wire transfers. Like there's something about that app where I'm like, ooh, I'm in the zone. And 4 hours later, I'm like, what? I can't believe it. So you have to set yourself up for success and realize that as an entrepreneur, what's really important are the important things going on with you and with your company. That's where your energy really needs to go. Whether or not you wake up at 5 a.m. or you don't go to the gym or you go to the gym at 2 a.m, it's irrelevant. What's important is, are you focused in on those buckets that are going to sustain you as a business owner and ultimately going to drive revenues and cash flow for you? That's what's key. And it's important to take that in and know that regardless if someone seems to be really successful online, or they claim to be really successful, or they display things that make it seem like they're successful, they too have gone through a variety of trials and tribulations and have at some point in time been like, what am I doing? Or felt alone, or really questioned themselves. So that the whole concept around like, whether or not you are the expert, whether, you really should be charging what you charge, or whether you really should even be in business, this whole notion of imposter syndrome, it is real and it's out there. I know I experienced it definitely my first few years in grad school, because I couldn't believe that there was this change of, okay, Kizzy Parks, and then Dr. Kizzy Parks, here, money. I was like, what is going on? Why are they, I can't believe they're paying me to analyze this data or to report to a CEO of this company. I just finished grad school. So it's normal to have it, or even maybe 10, 20 years down the road, you may question things or wonder if this is really your calling, or if you should venture into another business area or another market. Again, these are all things that are very natural and part of that kind of like progression and journey of being an entrepreneur and a business owner. What's vital is just knowing that truly you are not alone, that there are millions of us out there in the United States and, way even more across the world who have had and go through those same type of experiences. So it's vital that you just have a place to go. Hopefully here at Kizzy-Unfiltered, make sure you share, you like, you comment, you subscribe, you leave amazing reviews. Make sure you do all those things. But also that you have, a go-to place for you. The other thing that's really key as an entrepreneur is I have found you to have some kind of connection at a spiritual level. It's something that I get in different ways, whether it's like, I love Joel Osteen. So whether it's like watching him or going on his app, or it could be a book that I'm reading, it's really important, praying. It's really important to just, if that's something that you're interested in, or maybe you're involved in a different type of religion, but having this thing that's good for you, that helps you and centers you. It could be meditation. It could be yoga. It could be, hey, maybe you're into microdosing. I don't know. Whatever it is, what's important is that you also take time out and you keep yourself centered, because there's always like madness going on. I always look at it as like this constant football game or a constant like firefighting mode, where any moment I could be chilling in the firehouse, like, I was going to put this out there. I like imagine the firemen with no shirts on, like a calendar shoot, and somebody's cooking that chili and they're like, hey, Dr. Parks, try this chili. And I'm chilling in there eating the chili. And at any moment, the alarm could go off and I'm like, man, my fantasy's over. We got to really do work. Like, I know, silly, right? Cleaning stains and this like firefighter fantasy. So anyways, it's very similar to being an entrepreneur, because at any moment something could happen. And just because that alarm goes off does not mean, and I'm not suggesting that we're talking about something negative or a catastrophe. In the firefighter example, yeah, clearly. But in business, you never know. Sometimes that alarm could be, oh my gosh, we won this huge contract. Wow, what are we going to do? Or, oh my goodness, I just opened my Shopify store. I can't believe I sold out. How are we going to get all these products? Or who knows? But so that's why it's vital to like do and practice something that keeps you centered. And you don't need to be perfect. Like, I have my own struggles right now, like going to the gym and getting back into like a fitness routine. It is a thing for me. But I also give myself grace, and I'm like, okay, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I know I'm overall really healthy. I know I've been working in certain areas around food. I'm okay with that. That's the other thing that's key too, is that I find that sometimes as entrepreneurs, we're so hard on ourselves. Maybe you think that you should be spending more time with your family or with your kids or your significant other, or volunteering, or with your family. Who knows? But you have to give yourself grace, because even people who work in a more traditional environment, they have the same kind of concerns. They're struggling to work out. They're struggling to spend time with their kids, and they're struggling to, have this balance of having it all, which is really an illusion. This whole concept of like balance, and, I think of like a teeter-totter. I always loved as a kid going to the parks. Like I love the teeter-totters, and it just was like, again, like a cute little game. And I always loved that. Or like you'd put something on one end of it and you would push down the teeter-totter like really hard and it would go flying off. I always loved doing stuff like that. I know. So, it's important to realize that this balance doesn't exist. It just doesn't. Are there ways to like take back your time? Of course, hiring, outsourcing, like cleaning, your car being washed, maybe even some things with childcare, maybe even your cooking, maybe your dry cleaning, maybe your laundry. There's, especially in today's age with apps like TaskRabbit and Rushmade and some others. And again, this video is not sponsored. This podcast is not sponsored by any of these companies. I'm just sharing actual businesses and apps that I use. But with all of these options, there's just an abundance of ways to take back your time. What's vital and also vital as an entrepreneur is just being really aware and self-aware of really where do you want your time to go? Because I know I get so much joy and thrills and satisfaction out of doing what I do as an entrepreneur. I adore it. And I have no problem basically doing it every single day or really late at night. And I think about this interview I watched recently with Mr. Beast, and he shared that he doesn't have a big mansion. He doesn't have a home. He actually lives in his studio. And he was saying that his brain is always going. He has all of these ideas and he loves being there and being able to just execute on them and to make his videos better and better and better. And that he really struggles if he's not working, then he sometimes may feel depressed, and he arranges his day kind of based on how he feels. And it's something that I could truly relate to, because that does happen where it's hard to turn it off. And it's just something I love and enjoy. And the thing is, that's okay. There's others of you out there who are watching where maybe you're like, oh no, every Sunday I have to spend with family. Or, I think I had read that, like, for instance, Eminem, he kind of looked at going to the studio like a job. So he would only be in the studio certain hours of the day. It was like 8 to 5, or let's say 9 to 6. And he's like, okay, quitting time. We all have our different approaches. One is not better or worse than the other. It's about what works for you. And that really is, the theme for today's, Kizzy-Unfiltered and for our time together. And that is about what works for you. And you may find that it works really well for you today, and it may be something you need to change or get rid of tomorrow. And I look at it in this sense, and I ask myself these questions. What should I stop doing? What should I start doing and continue doing? There we go. I got it out. Those are the things that you want to ask yourself as you're going through this journey as an entrepreneur, small business owner, gig worker, because it's really going to help you. So I got so distracted. I'm going to end this. I'm sorry, y'all. I got so in this stupid thing. I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, you guys. Whew, I'm feeling it today. I'm like, oh man. Okay. So please ask yourself these questions. Start doing, stop doing, continue doing, and kind of take inventory. It could be quarterly, could be monthly, could be weekly, could be daily. Again, it's what works for you. As long as you just know what you're doing right now, it got you this far. So you're doing something, right? It's working, and it can always be better, but you are not alone out there. You are not at all. And I think sometimes I need to hear that more than maybe you even need to hear that, but we're not alone. So everyone here watching Kizzy-Unfiltered, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe and come back for even more.
Glutathione is a big word. It's the body's own master antioxidant. It's a scavenger for free radical, bacteria, and viruses. There are no products in the market with the ingredient Nasset. Nasset increases the production of glutathione that's in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system, elevate sense of well-being, support muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, and liver support. It helps with increased energy and blood sugar regulation. Get your bottle of GSH Plus from www.salvationnutra.com.